Good morning. This is Dr. Bill Wyatt again, and with the American Orthodontic Society. And this is the fourth case is where we extracted one lower central. And this is an interesting case, of course. It was a tongue thruster, and we put tongue thrust devices in there to break that also. So we'll show that as we go along. Here the case is finished. I'll show you. This is we started it in 1984, and we've got some pictures of it in 2000. And I'm sure if I could find this lady today, it would still be there. She's a very serious school teacher, and this worked out just perfect. And I'm going to run through these deals just a little bit here. And that's the lower central. You see, we're not fully halfway over it, but it's close enough. And this is 1984, and I'll show you some pictures of this in 2000. And it's the cuspids and everything have gone down, erupted together, and you put a good retainer in there and lets these teeth erupt together. And that's the last movement of the treatment is when the teeth erupt into one another, and they kind of mill in like on a car, like the valves and everything, and that holds them in place, and that helps. And if you don't finish it with them erupting together, and there's no earthly way you can put these little plastic shields over the teeth and get them to erupt into each other. You got to make a retainer, and I like just a wraparound deal with nothing across the teeth. You don't need anything going across the teeth to do that. I've preached on that for so long a time, and they'll finish out like that. All right, here's the upper teeth, and you can tell this lady's still wearing a retainer after 16 years or more. There, you can see the tracks of the retainer in her mouth, and down on the bottom, this has worked out good. It's just three lower anterior teeth, and the cuspids and everything going to the back are working fine. Now here we'll cover just a little bit fixing the tongue thrust device. We have lots of lower anterior bands left, and we put them on the teeth, and then they've got brackets in them and everything. So we take the bands off and solder an 030 wire on the bands. That's an 030 stainless steel, and it's spot welded on here. And then we take solder and flow it over that to make sure this stays off. Then we slip that on the teeth, and we'll bend this back and see where it doesn't hit the palate. And we've done many tongue thrust cases like that, but you make sure they can breathe when you do that. I mean, you need to get the person where they can function properly, and then you can break the habits like that. So make sure their nasal capacity, excuse me, their nasal capacity and everything is okay. Now we're going to come in and flow solder on these things like that, and they're hard to tear off, and we'll put these on, and then we bend these back into place. And that is one good way of dealing with tongue thrust with adults. Now we cut those off. They're still a little bit sharp. You see, you can leave them that way. The person will go up there about twice and bump those things, and then the tongue won't go there anymore. It'll stop going there, and you leave them on for several months. Okay, here it is in the mouth. You can see where we soldered these things on, and they're hard to break off. and they'll stay there, and the tongue comes over the top of them. It rakes the bottom of the tongue, and so they stop doing it. And I put this on a doctor once, and he told me the same story. I said, I want you to tell me exactly what reaction you have to these things. And he said, well, my tongue went up there about twice, bumps it once, and then it comes back and bumps it again, and it really bothers it. And you may talk funny for a day or two, but that tongue won't go back over that spot. It is worked great. All right, it's from here back, and now you bend these things where they don't poke into the palate up here, and the tongue goes over the top of this, and you can see how it would really rake that and stop that. And we've got a whole video about that on this young lady, and here she is. This is, I don't know what the date on this is, but this was 1982 when we started, and she had a little bit of a class 3 tendency and a crossbite there, and then we straightened that up. In the front, she had this tongue thrust problem, pushing her tongue out, and you just can't imagine how much pressure, and the light, gentle pressure of the tongue will move the teeth all over the place. And people who swallow improperly, and you can swallow without biting together. It's an infantile swallow pattern, and if you do that, you don't bite your teeth together. Now, and some people are still doing that in their adult years, and so their teeth don't get all this pressure. You close your teeth together some 2,000 times a day, and you bite down on that. I say 2,000, I think it's 200 times a day. Anyway, it's a lot of times. When you bite with a certain amount of force, an adult swallow pattern, you close to and bite, and the tongue pushes out in certain directions. It forms the torque and everything, the shape of the mouth and all this. And if it's not doing it right, it just won't form right. I mean, if you're tongue thrusting like this, then you're pushing the tongue through the maxilla. Usually doesn't develop this good, and you'll have cross bites in there. We've got videos on that showing that, quite a few of them. Now, we put this stuff on her. We took that tooth out, and this it is in 1984. In 82 we started. You can see this side of the mouth, and there it is in 84. We had finished it, and this is the upper in 82, and there it is in 84, and here it is 82 and 84. Now here we have it. She came back in, and this is 2000 now. It's been in there since we finished it. It's been 16 years, and that's 2000. It's darn near just the same way. She had some teeth crowned, but they fit back in. She still wore the retainer, and must take really good care of her teeth. And this thing hadn't changed one bit in 16 years. So I've got another case I'm going to show, and they all have some different things about them, where we took one lower anterior teeth on a slightly class 3-ish person and treated them out. And this is 2000. And this is the retainer that she wore and is still wearing it after 16 years of use of that. And that's the end of this deal. I hope you join our deal and subscribe to our channel, and hope you get something out of each of these videos. This is something you can help people, and that lady that had her mouth open like that, treated her teeth that way, and it's still there, and it'll be there the rest of her life. So it's real gratifying to do this type of work, and I appreciate your interest in this, and I'll say goodbye, and we'll check you out again on the next video, hopefully.